The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Wednesday.
Oh, yes, it's Wednesday. Another short week for the people. And they're all going back to work today. Yeah. And we have a programming announcement. Starting next Monday, we will be at the 5 o'clock hour only. We will no longer have a rebroadcast from 11. So we'll be on at the 5 o'clock hour only. At 11 a.m., though, there will be a live broadcast on YouTube that you're able to watch if you're a YouTube subscriber. Or you can find us on YouTube. We will post on our Facebook page the link to our live web feed at 11 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But the show will be aired Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 now. There's a programming change. There's a lot of programming changes coming up here at FRC Media, and we had to pick the best hour available for the show to be seen at with the most people. So our 5 o'clock hour, if we don't rebroadcast, we get a lot of headaches. And I've asked people to call in, asking to keep both time slots open for us, but that's just not possible. So it's a little sucky, but we got to take what we can get. Yeah,
we're a little disappointed that we know a lot of people watch us live at 11 in some of the places, but you do have if you have access to the internet, you can get YouTube, and you can get on YouTube and just type in Spindle City Straight Talk. Normally our episode, it'll be you'll be able to get it, and we're starting a new year, so it's not hard to track the numbers. This is the first show of the new year.
19-01.
19-01, so it won't be hard to find today's show, and they just keep going up from there. So if you want to watch us live, you'll have to watch us on YouTube live stream, but we will be on at 5, and it is what it is. So, we apologize to all the viewing parties that they have at some of the high-rises. So you're going to have to watch us on YouTube. You're going to have to that's the way it is. But I think it's important. But we will be on at 5. We're not going away.
We're not going away.
As much as some of the people wish.
Well, you're not going to be here on Friday.
Yes, I will not be here on Friday. I have a commitment in Boston, and I have to be there.
Are you working with the FBI?
I refuse to answer on the grounds. I plead the 17th, not the 5th. I don't know. Or the 15th. That's 3 5s. I don't know. But no, I would look. If there's one show I really want to be at, it's Friday's show. I love to be here. I love to be able to talk about politics and give our opinions, whether they like it or not. But
what happened
the day after the clowncil Chamber of Horrors meeting today, because I'm waiting with bated breath to see what kind of circus this turns out to be, or if they just let it go. If Jazel does the right thing and just keeps his mouth shut and lets him, then we're going to see the barrage of people going up saying free Jazel and Jazel deserves this and that. But we've got, I don't know, we might as well go segue into this. There was a Providence Journal article, which is very good, printed on New Year's Eve day. And I won't read the whole thing, it's pretty, but I'll just read an excerpt. You can read the excerpt. I think it starts out, for reasons only known to him, Fall River Mayor Jazel Correa will not comply with the express wishes of thousands of voters, members of his own city council, the governor of Massachusetts, U.S. Representative Joseph Kennedy, and others, including the Providence Journal, and resign. Instead, he's going to stay and fight the recall election. Then if you go down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th paragraph, it says, at a relatively tender age, the mayor is already identified with scandal and regarded with distrust. Now he can add stubborn selfishness to the list. And then it goes on to keep doing. You know, the best thing the mayor can do is to step aside, work to regain the trust he squandered, and allow the city to cleanse itself. And it talks about how he talks about what he's done for Fall River, yet it remains one of the poorest cities in the state of Massachusetts. So, good article.
And they point that out. They point that out very clearly, that Fall River still is the poorest community.
Yep.
And he keeps saying he's doing all these wonderful things for Fall River. But what we've seen is a lot of wonderful things for his friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not for Fall River.
And even the things he's doing do not help what the fundamental problem is in Fall River. Jobs, people employed, people who can sustain small businesses by shopping and having a paycheck. No, you know, actually, it was ironic. We had a discussion yesterday. I ran into a Jazel supporter, and of course he wanted to engage me in a debate, and he gave me the whole
mistake.
Well, you know, he gave me the same rote. You know, don't you think they're rushing this? Shouldn't he be given a chance? And the answer to that is no. No, he's got his chance. It's called court. And he's got his chance. It's called the Constitution. He's innocent until proven guilty. But again, I had to reiterate to this person, who obviously doesn't agree with me, that being a mayor, being the head of a daycare center, being a DA, those jobs, performance is not the only criteria. Perception is. The perception of the individual in the job. John F. Kennedy, no matter what he did, still had public support. Richard Nixon, no matter what he did, was disliked by the public.
I am not a crook.
That's right, but perception, you know, and it, especially in politics, you know, you can get more things through when you're well liked. And of course, if you're a DA and you're charged with murder, you can't remain a DA. You have to step aside, clear your name, and then come back. But no, as they said, it's stubborn selfishness. And also, obviously, because he probably won't get a paycheck, because if he doesn't get a job there, where's he going to get a job? But, you know, the reality is we had that discussion, and it was the same old stuff. Well, you know, you shouldn't, we should make the recall tougher. Why? My counter to that argument was, well, we should have like 20% instead of this. This is ridiculous. And I said, no, it's not ridiculous. As a matter of fact, it should be made easier. Like, I opposed the 300 signatures to run for office. I think you should be able to run for office with your own. This is America. Everybody should be the part of the process. Everybody should have the right to try to seek elected office and share their ideas with the public. And I pointed out to the gentleman that this is supposedly a country that has a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. By our own state constitution, politicians are our substitutes and our agents, and at all times answerable to us. What greater example of what this country was founded on than allowing the people and making it easy for the people to shape their own government, as it dictates in the Declaration of Independence, that when a government stops working for the good of the people have a duty and a right, but a duty to change that government. So why should we make it more difficult for us to abide by our own Constitution and Declaration of Independence? I disagree, and we had a nice, lively discussion. And ironically enough, I hadn't seen this editorial, and it basically says exactly, kind of mirrors what we've been saying on this show since the process began. You know, this is not good for the city of Fall River. He said, oh, you know, the mayor's doing his job. And no, he's not. He's locked in his office. It's at Government Center, meeting with lawyers on the recall, lawyers on the criminal case, lawyers on things. You know, we know who's running the city. The minions. The minions. So, I mean, look, and the headline for this, in case you, Mayor Carrere, resign already. Sounds like a comedy show, and unfortunately, that's what he's turned the city into, a comedy show. Yeah, so
Well, you know, between Flip Wilson and
Yeah, yeah. Here come the judge.
and Don Rickles,
That's
you're
right.
all set.
And you know, we're
Hockey puck.
and you know we're going to have to we'll hit this later, I guess. But read it. It's a short editorial from the for the Journal editorial board. But it's a very, you know, it makes a lot. You know, it's very to the point.
It makes perfect sense.
It's succinct and it's right on target as far as I'm concerned. And like for all the mayor's claims of progress in Fall River, the once thriving manufacturing town is still poorer than most, indeed, most of the United States. Its unemployment rate exceeds the state and national averages. It's struggling with opioid overdose epidemic and shows little signs of it. That shows little signs of abating.
Right.
It's a community that's the opioid crisis is a symbol of the hopelessness that Fall River symbolizes. That's it. Because people just don't. They've just given up. You know, that's why we buy so many scratch tickets. The only way they can make any money is hit the lottery, and now people are taking drugs. There's a hopelessness here. There's a malaise in this city that we never move forward. As I told him, paving a road does not make the city great. There are people in this city on residential streets that still need paving. He paved his friends, and not only that, who cares about paving roads? That's like a chow mein sandwich for a politician. Because does it cost him anything to pave those roads? No. He gets his friends to contract his jobs. They pave the roads, and who gets hit? The taxpayer. Because we get another bond.
That's it.
We get another bill that your grandchildren's grandchildren will still be paying for.
And we've got $2 million sitting in a reserve account.
That's right. But will we pay for us? No. But that's the feel good. You think it's just a coincidence, and I truly believe there's no such thing as a coincidence, especially in politics. You think it's coincidental that all these projects always appear when there's an election on the horizon?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know, it's like it's not a coincidence. You know, they paved the roads. Oh, look at the street. Oh, the streets are beautiful. Oh, look.
Well, it's the same thing with this $2 million.
Yeah.
Because I remember Mary Sahadi saying that she plans on using that money to pay off the snow removal bill.
Yeah.
That way they don't have to carry it over to another year.
Yeah.
That way the mayor can turn around and say, well, I paid off the snow removal bill. We don't carry it over to another year. Can't you see that?
Yeah, but we bonded for the roads instead of paying for it and not hitting the taxpayer with another.
And we bonded for the cars for the police department. And we bonded for the radios. And
which should be a normal part of their bid.
Exactly.
Replacement of the equipment is part. Look, you own a factory. You can't bond the city. Well, maybe in Fall River you can. They'll probably agree to it. Who knows? But the reality is, when you own a business and you have to replace equipment that is mandatory for you to have, you can't just bond. You have to figure out how to pay for it. And but they don't, because the budget just keeps expanding with pay raises and bonds, even though we shouldn't be getting them. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. But look, his claims to have created this Valhalla here, is just BS. But read the article. It's very, very good.
It appeared on New Year's Eve, so.
So I guess there was a major fire at the Four Winds apartment complex, and according to this article, one person died and the other was critically injured. I don't know what this said. Did we get any? The
person who died is a 72-year-old woman.
Yeah.
She was the driver of the car that drove into the building. The other woman who was in critical condition was her sister. She was a passenger in that car, and she's in the hospital. So,
do we know where she is?
I believe Rhode Island Hospital.
Rhode Island, yeah. We don't have a condition. She's critical.
It was
She's critical.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have a lieutenant from the fire department who's in the hospital.
Well, this article said there are 6 firefighters in the hospital Wednesday. Well, they might have, the hospital was being treated for heat exhaustion, smoke inhalation, chest pains, etc. Probably the one chest pains kept over for observation, but probably the smoke inhalation normally. Heat exhaustion is something that they normally can get under control fairly quickly once they're out of the environment. So, but there are how many people out without a home here? There's
45 families.
45 families, not people. 45 families. Actually, a good friend of mine's brother was one of the people displaced, and I think you know someone who was displaced also from that building.
The interesting thing is, it's about 60, somewhere around 60 people are actually displaced.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking, adults and children. Adults and children. And there are some small animals were lost in that fire, which happens a lot, and we know this. And it's still sad for those people. But they have nothing. They have nothing now because the building inspector wants to knock that building down immediately. He wants to take it down immediately. He's not even going to let the families go back into the apartments to get whatever property they can salvage, which says a lot. And this brings up an interesting question. How many people had tenant insurance? How many people got renter's insurance?
Yeah, and some of the things that are lost in a fire, and I saw far too many in my career, and it's a tragedy. It's the worst type of devastation. It's like getting hit with a bomb. I mean, there's virtually nothing left of some mementos that are irreplaceable.
Right.
I mean, you lose things that you could never replace. I mean, renter's insurance, and you should have it obviously, but there are things you lose that can never be replaced. Mementos from your parents or your grandparents or your children when they were growing up, and those things, unfortunately, it's
photographs.
There's nothing. There was nothing worse for me especially around Christmas time. We had fires around Christmas, and you saw like the entire, all the toys, all the mementos, everything gone. It's a difficult situation for and you have to sympathize with those people because they did nothing wrong except live in a building where this happened. And these buildings, some of them have common lofts and a lot of void areas where fire can propagate into these areas, and it's difficult. And I saw that the building's going to be they want to demolish it, and
right.
Sometimes you wonder, but it becomes maybe a cost factor. But still, those people, there is a way of taking that building down, like they do when we do a fire investigation. You take it out in layers,
yeah,
and they may be able to access some of that stuff. And the other way is take the bulldozer in and just level it, and then you get nothing, So hopefully they'll try to salvage something for these families because, it is a tragedy. And ironically enough, I'd say probably in my career, I think probably 95% or better didn't have. I never saw very many people with renter's insurance.
Yeah,
and ironically, it's not that expensive.
No, it's like $17 or $18 a month.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive, and if you go with your home, if you go with your auto insurance and you get your insurance for renter's insurance from the same company, you get a discount a lot of times. So it's something that people should really look at right now, especially after a tragedy like this.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman didn't expect to drive through a building and then drive into a gas main, and that's what caused this fire to blow up, was the fact that she hit a gas main. That was it.
Yeah.
I mean, once you hit the gas main.
You know that old adage, go gas, go boom.
That's it, and that's exactly what
and
happened
unfortunately, but as you said, she's 72. We don't even know what. I mean, obviously she could have had some medical issue and drove into the building, because at that age you don't know. And I don't know if they're going to determine a cause of death at some point in time. But it's not even. Unfortunately, it's terrible that she died. But regardless of what the cause was, the result of it was a tragedy. And this is a good example, because that building is not that. It's not an old decrepit three-decker where you'd say the wiring is 100 years old and they still got knob and tube or something like that, and it's a fire trap. This building was fairly, a fairly new building. By Fall River standards, it was, a much higher than average set of units, and it just goes to show, everybody you know, you should have renter's insurance. Believe me, I saw far too many people lose everything, you know, and I always suggested that, you know, they should have renter's insurance. But, yeah, it was a, you know, a terrible thing. And it's always worse after a holiday, you know.
It is.
After Christmas, after New Year's. I'll bet you some of these people still had, you know, obviously they had their Christmas presents and stuff still in their apartments and stuff, and they probably would barely just, their children were just probably playing with their toys for a couple of days, you know, and, you know, it's a sad commentary on the,
Well, the Red Cross declared this one of the worst fires they've had in a number of years, because they had about 45 families to
well, you know, that thing was, you know, that thing was really, you know, fires get hot enough anyway in closed areas, but it was venting pretty good from what I saw on the news. It was blowing out the, you know, out the building, but it's gas fed.
Right.
So it's even hotter at first until they shut the gas off, which I assume they have to, you know, you know, once the gas company you know, once they got the flow of the gas shut down, you know, it's critical. But the gas is going to make it even hotter and propagate it even more quickly. And you can't put the fire out with the gas going, because then you got gas,
which is ready to ignite again.
which is ready to blow up again as soon as it hits any source of ignition, a hot water heater or whatever, any kind of, you know, that, you know, so, you know, the first thing you got to do with a gas, you know, is shut the flow of gas off. You got to eliminate the fuel, but it was, you know, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, and you know,
for the families.
This was a bad fire because it rekindled last night. I mean, at the 11 o'clock news, the press was still out there, and you could see the fire department was still pouring water on this building, and you could see the red from behind the building coming up. And this morning at 6 a.m., I was watching the news, and they were still out there, and they were still pouring water on this fire, trying to get it out.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand. You know, the situation they're in now is that if the building's so far gone structurally that they won't allow anybody in, including firefighters, a lot of that fire is trapped in concealed spaces where you can't get water on it. You hit it, but you're not going to you got to get it to the seat of the fire. The fire is coming up through voids and open bays and whatever. You can't get the water to actually, you know, put the fire out. You stand out there, you try to cool everything down, but you can't get in there. The only way to put something like that out effectively is if the building was structurally sound. You have to actually go into the building and pull the ceilings and open the walls to get into where the fire actually, the seat of the fire actually is. So, you know, it's one of those situations where it's like a mill fire. When it pancakes down and the mill collapses, it burns for days. We had Firestone and Kerr Mill. Those things smolder for days because there's fire trapped underneath in a space where water can't get to it, unless you basically fill the entire, you know, building with water,
right.
the basement. But these, you know, you've got a structural void there that you can't get water on, and the structure is not, you know, they won't allow anybody in because of the structural integrity's gone. So, I mean, they're basically going to be there for a while. And even when they begin to tear that building down, they're going to find hot spots. Yeah. They're going to find pockets of fire.
And the thing is, you know, I'm glad you got into that because, you know, some people always say, oh, when the fire department comes, all they do is they take down the walls and break down the doors and all they want to do is wreck the place. No, there's a reason why.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't if you don't wreck that wall, it goes up to the next floor and up to the attic, then it crosses over. It's called, you know, it's called mushrooming. A fire goes up. That's why basement fires are so dangerous. In a balloon frame construction with no fire stopper, it starts at the bottom, but heat rises, so the fire goes up, goes all the way up to the attic, goes down to the attic, and then crosses back down and involves the entire building. And like this building, you lose the entire building because it's everywhere and you can't get at it. You have to open up walls and ceilings to get at the thing. And in this particular case, when the structural integrity is so bad, they're basically screwed. They're going to be there for a while. And as I said, even when they take that building down, they'll probably find a couple of hot spots.
And that makes sense now because the woman in the car went through the bottom of the building.
Yep.
The basement level of the building. I don't know if it was a laundry room or a storage room or whatever it was, but the gas main was there. So that fire started right there. And maybe that's exactly what it did. Maybe it went up and mushroomed back down. It sounds logical that that's what.
Yeah, well, depending on the building construction, mostly in Fall River, mostly balloon frame, which means it's open. You can look from the basement all the way up to the attic, balloon frame. There's no fire stopping in the older houses. When you study fire tactics, a basement fire is one of the worst fires for extension. To get from its point of origin and go up to upper floors and extend. So, it was in the basement, it was gas fed, it was heat. I mean, they had every conceivable issue to deal with at that fire, and of course it was gas fed on top. So, like I said, they're going to be there for a while, and it's not because they have to be. And as I said, they're probably going to see pockets when they rip. But now, we're going to have a pool on what the clowncil does tonight. You think there's going to be, I don't know. Hey, everybody, email us, get on and let us know. What's the betting pool? Let's start a betting pool. Is there going to be an objection? Will there be, will here come the judge get up and start trying to take over a city council meeting too? What's going to go on tonight? I mean, I'm waiting with bated breath here. I mean, I just can't wait to see this.
If this moves forward, I think they're going to go with March 19th. Because March 12th, that means they're going to have papers available on Friday for people to take out and sign, get their nomination signatures. So I think they'll give them a couple of days because they got to get their accounts set up with OCPF and they've got to do all of that. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's also going to be interesting to see if there's a change in leadership, because the first two items on the agenda is the election of the president and vice president of the city council.
Oh yeah, what's the betting line on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
I haven't heard much. Everybody's hunkered down. There's a lot of machinations going on here. I don't know what's going on, but I haven't heard a lot. Normally, you get the rumblings of this one's affiliated, this one aligning with this one, and this one.
There hasn't been a lot of talk about it.
It's been real quiet this time. But I mean, let's see what they do, because this editorial says it well, because again, it highlights what we talked about on the show about the mayor, speaking with forked tongue on one.
Was that a dig on Elizabeth Warren?
Yes. Yeah, what is she, 1/1000th or something? Yeah, I don't know what the hell, whatever ridiculous amount. But the mayor said the people are going to be make the ultimate decision. Then in the next line, he says he intends to fight the recall. He doesn't want to resign. He shouldn't be getting recall. Well, make up your mind. As I said, you should be embracing the recall. If you truly believe that people should speak, you should be telling all your minions not to say a word. But there will be people at Citizens Input complaining about he's not given a chance, and I guess that Fall River's alternate universe, because as they opened this article with and said, the governor, the people of Fall River, United States Representative Joseph Kennedy, other state and federal officials, and the Providence Journal editorial board, and everybody else, virtually except the zombies, believed that he should have, stepped aside and proved it.
He should have resigned a long time ago. He should have.
And I told that individual in our debate, if he would have stepped away, he would have got more support. If he would have said, I realize that, I wanted the city to move forward. I don't want this to cloud the business of the city. I'm going to step aside, prove my innocence, and I'll be back. And I think more people would have supported him. So, hey, everybody have a nice weekend. I wish I could be here Friday, but, as usual, CJ will be carrying the banner, and we will have a mystery guest host. Mystery guest host.
I hope.
We hope, yeah.
I hate doing it alone. It just doesn't look good with people listening to me for a half an hour.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, have a great day, and get out and watch that city council meeting tonight, and we'll talk about it on Friday. Have a great day, and stay angry.